Man, these higher interest rates done ran up here and straight up changed the game on the real estate market here in San Antonio. And I don't mean just a little bit either. Stay tuned because in this video, I'm keeping it all the way real about what's going on right now with the San Antonio housing market and where I see us going with home prices, interest rates, and affordability in the near future. I'm giving you everything you need to know about how to navigate this thing, and we're getting into it right now. What's going on, family? This is Greg Foster here with Market Boss Real Estate Group, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel, the #1 place for everything that you want to know about living, working, eating, chilling, and playing in San Antonio, Texas. And if that's the kind of stuff you're into, then click the subscribe button and tap that little bell so that you're notified every time I drop a new video. And my team and I, we're getting calls every day from folks just like you, researching homes and neighborhoods in the Alamo City, and we really dig it. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere in the San Antonio area, then give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or click the link in the description to schedule a Zoom call with a member of my team. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back in San Antonio, Texas. So there's a few things that I really want to talk about that's having a major impact on our real estate market right now in terms of where we are, how we got there, and then of course I got some recommendations on what I think you should do moving forward. First up, let's talk about affordability. Now there's a lot to unpack with this one, but the long and short of it is that these higher home prices, the higher property taxes, and these higher interest rates are really doing a number on affordability right now, and it's kind of a perfect storm on slowing this market down if you ask me. Home prices really been acting a fool for the last couple of years, with some of the most popular neighborhoods in the San Antonio area seeing appreciation rates in the 20 to 30% range for back-to-back years in 2020, 2021, and the first half of 2022, due in part to the demand and the competition that we've been seeing from out-of-state home buyers looking at relocating to the area. Because I'm sure, as you already know, everybody and their grandmama trying to move to Texas right now. But it wasn't just the relocations and the demand in the market that pushed our home values up to where we are today. Lumber prices have been all over the place in the last couple of years, and with the labor shortages and supply chain issues that we're still dealing with to this day, home builders simply haven't been able to build homes fast enough for everyone that wants to buy one, limiting the supply of inventory even further. Until lately, which I'm gonna get into in a minute. Of course, higher property values also mean higher property taxes, so when the new county appraisals came out late last year, everyone that had been on the sideline chilling over the last couple of years who didn't sell their home, they were feeling pretty good about all their appreciation and all this newfound home equity, until of course they realized I had to pay a whole lot more in property taxes. At which point most folks got a little salty. But if I'm just keeping it real with y'all, I don't really know what y'all are expecting to happen with everybody paying tens of thousands of dollars over list price for the last couple of years. Cause y'all know Bexar County and the city of San Antonio ain't playing when it comes to their tax money. Add in the fact that mortgage rates have basically doubled from 3% to 6% over the last few months in an effort to curb inflation, and everybody out there who decided to wait out all the craziness of 2020 and 2021, well, they're kind of having sticker shock right now with the way some of these mortgage payments are set up. The latest numbers from the San Antonio Board of Realtors for the month of May 2022 show that the average home price in the Alamo City is just shy of $400,000. And when you compare payments on a $400,000 mortgage over 30 years at 3% versus 6%, the math says you're paying a little over $700 a month more today for the exact same home versus what you could have been paying for if you'd have just bought it 6 months ago, which is kind of a big deal. Needless to say, these rate hikes are actually doing what they were designed to do, which is knock people out of the market, make them think twice about borrowing money, and slow things back down to sustainable levels. The craziness that we've been seeing over the last couple of years where sellers and builders could basically do whatever they wanted, buyers just had to take it, and they had to offer up their life savings, their firstborn child, and a year of free tacos just to get their offer accepted. That whole situation is over. The shift is officially here, and for a lot of folks, there's a fair amount of uncertainty about what exactly that means. So let's have a real talk in terms about what the opportunity is right now in this market, what the opportunity might be in the future, and hopefully get some of your questions answered as to whether or not you should be trying to take advantage of what's going on right now. So there's a couple of things I want you to think about as you're making the decision of, do I move to San Antonio or do I put my San Antonio house up for sale and maybe buy something else? So the good news though is that there's so many more options that are starting to become available to you right now. Builders and home sellers for the longest time, they weren't doing anything. They weren't offering incentives, they weren't doing anything in the way of concessions, and in a lot of cases we've seen a lot of home sellers actually wait several days, sit on your offer so that they can have more showings and more offers come in that are going to compete against you. But if you take a look at what's going on today, we're in what I feel like are the beginning stages of things returning back to what they were like in 2019. Back to a time when even though it was a seller's market, there were a lot more homes for buyers to look at, and everything wasn't selling with 15 offers over asking in the first 24 hours. And even though historically the kind of market that we're moving into is what's considered to be normal, it still has a lot of sellers and listing agents freaking out a little bit because they're comparing what's going on right now to what it's been like for the last couple of years when they had their nose turned up treating buyers like peasants. But if you're thinking about selling your home, you can still expect to do pretty well. And if you are planning to buy a home in the near future, just know that the balance of power is starting to shift back to something a little more even. Builders have also started leaning in a little bit because they're saying, okay, demand has slowed down a little bit, the traffic in the models, it's not quite what it used to be on the weekends anymore, and so now they're offering a lot more incentives in an effort to get people back through the door again. For the last couple of years, builder sales reps were limited on the number of homes that they could sell every month, and they had these long wait lists with buyers 30 to 40 deep that they'd randomly draw from in a lottery every month just to see who got to go to contract on a home. And if your name wasn't picked, too bad, so sad. You'd have to wait for the next lottery on the first of the following month, which of course was after the price increases across the entire neighborhood. But that's just not how it is anymore. Nowadays, my timeline and my inbox are full of new home sales reps posting and emailing about all their inventory and all the thousands of dollars they have to throw at our clients if they decide to buy a home in their community. And so if you're thinking about building new construction, or maybe you're looking for a longer term close, one of the best things folks are doing right now is they're locking in the incentives, they're getting a better deal, and many of these builders right now, they're also offering long-term rate locks on interest rates too. And so if you're worried about what's going on right now with things starting to shift, will interest rates continue to go up, that sort of thing, many of these builders right now are actually helping folks out a lot by locking in those rates long term so that you get a little bit of certainty down the road in the future. One of the things that I really do love about the market that we're in right now is that you're not having to go crazy over asking price anymore. You're not having to go $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking, $60,000 over asking just to get a house anymore. So if you think about it from an affordability standpoint, you're keeping a lot more of your money in your pocket because you're not having to compete against nearly as many cash buyers out there. And sellers are still really doing well too, with most of the homes out there still selling near or at list price within a few weeks. And so that to me is really a win in today's market. A question that I get all the time is, when is this real estate market finally going to crash? Now, I first got in real estate, got licensed back in the spring of 2009, so I know all about what that market was like back then. And having lived through the 2008 and 2009 bubble, one of the things that we know that's fundamentally different about what's going on right now compared to back then is that today, most people are actually sitting on a ton of equity when it comes to their home. And it was actually a lot harder to get a mortgage over the last few years than it was back in 2007, 8, and 9. I can still remember people getting 110, 120% mortgages back then, which basically guaranteed that you were in a negative equity position the day that you closed on your home. You also had these 1 and 2 year adjustable rate mortgages with teaser rates in the 1% to 2% range that would then balloon up to like 7, 8% and put people in a position of not being able to afford their mortgage payments anymore. Not to mention that most banks cared a lot less about what your credit score looked like back then, and it was almost encouraged for you to lie about your income on some of these loan products where they didn't have to actually verify how much money you made. But the last couple of years, they just weren't like that at all. I mean, if you wanted to buy a home, you actually had to have good credit. You actually had to have money to put down and to be able to compete with these other buyers out there. And if you were one of the folks out there lucky enough to get your offer accepted, chances are you're sitting on one of those 2 to 3% interest rates right now. And if you look back over history, that almost never happens. So I'm not exactly holding my breath that we're ever going to see those again. So if you're still one of the ones out there holding your breath and waiting for the market to crash, then you should probably stop before you pass out. One of the things to consider if you're thinking about buying or building a home right now is that if you're looking at a long enough time horizon, and for most folks we tell them that's at least 3 to 5 years, then it still really makes a lot of sense for you to become a homeowner. It doesn't really matter if the market goes up and down and then back up again because you're locked into what it is today. My team and I, we've been talking to a lot of buyers that just feel really uncertain about what's going on right now with rental rates, what's going on with home prices, which are still going up by the way, and also what's going on with interest rates because they're kind of just all over the place right now. Now, if you're thinking about buying a home and flipping it in a year, or if you move all the time and this is like your 10th or your 15th time buying a house, then maybe you should rent, okay? Maybe you should take some time to wait it out and see what happens. But if you're able to lock in today and you're able to get a home that you love and your time horizon is a little bit further out, that 3 to 5 years or more that we talked about, then get some certainty in your life. I mean, that's the way that I look at it. If you're not going anywhere and you want to settle down and make San Antonio home, then settle down and make San Antonio home. Worst case scenario, if your plans did end up changing and you had to move a lot sooner than expected, I'm really sure you'd have no problem renting that house out and it turning into a good, sound, long-term investment for you down the road. Okay, so as we're wrapping up this video, if you're unsure about what to do right now in terms of moving or not moving, and you're really just looking for a good resource to lean into, well, that's what my team and I are here for. We're not just here to sell you a house. We're actually just here to help you make a good buying decision. And we're getting calls from folks just like you every day that are researching homes and neighborhoods in the Alamo City, and we really dig it. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere in the San Antonio area, then give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or click the link in the description to schedule a Zoom call with a member of my team. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back in San Antonio, Texas.